Hello everybody, welcome to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich, a brand new series. I think that's Russia today. So in the past, we've done, liberal Russia, we've done socialist Russia, Sannikov's Russia, absolute monarchist Russia, which I guess kind of leaves us with one more path, which is constitutional monarch Russia. So we'll be going that way for this campaign. We do need to invite Tsar Kirill, but I think as long as we don't have Sannikov in charge, we should be okay. Denkin, Romanov, or Regal. Okay, we can get that done. But since the most recent update, they've actually boosted Russia. They made them a little bit stronger, which is nice. Because you remember back to our last Russia campaign, which was, like January maybe? I actually don't remember exactly when we last played Russia. But we lost that campaign. We did not succeed. So if we couldn't succeed, the AI has not been able to succeed. I don't think we've seen one successful Russia since No Step Back. I might be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. So here we are. We have 76 factories, 32, 4, and 40. More naval dockyards I think actually wouldn't be too bad. Maybe just to start us off with. National focus. We have Navy stuff, or we can go for... We'll go for our intelligence agency. Actually, getting that on like day one is pretty good. Industry techs. Let's go with our basics here. We do have 4 tech slots, which actually is quite nice. We'll go with all of our basics with you. I'm actually going to build ourselves 2 naval dockyards to begin with. I know. It's unfathomable, but 4 naval dockyards is not going to be enough for us here. Military factories. Right now we're on infantry supports, towed, light tank, fighters. I mean, most of the stuff seems okay. I wouldn't mind switching light tanks out for medium tanks. Actually, you have improved light tanks. Do we? Actually, I want to look at my tank tech. So we have 34 light, 34 heavy. Medium is... We got 34 medium, and then goes to the 40 medium. So maybe light tank's actually okay. Maybe we're actually kind of fine with that. Yeah, you know what? Let's just keep the 19 or the light tanks. That'll be okay for the series. We also have a lot of factories. So we'll put 3 on you. I'm gonna put 4 on you. I'm gonna take 1 off trucks. Take 1 off support equipment. 5 on fighters. We'll keep 1 on strategic bombers. I'm usually not that big into strategic bombers. So 5 on you. And that's looking okay for now. Dockyards. We will put 3 on convoys to begin with, and then we will put the rest onto some submarines. But 5 of those on there. The updates that ruins our naval strategy had not come out yet, so submarines is still completely a-okay. Get our Army Navy experience. Unassigned divisions up in the north. Turn off fog of war as well. Of course, we don't know who's going to eventually join our faction. You know, it's hard to say right now. We'll probably go for... I mean, I usually like going realpolitik, to be honest. Baltic states, Finland, Romania, Georgia, and Mongolia. And then you give us expansion against Poland, Austria, Romania, Persia, and Afghanistan. I mean, I don't know which way we want to go. I guess we'll see. Because these are not going to unlock until maybe like a year or so from now. So we don't have to choose at this very moment. Okay, but how many units do we actually have? What are our stats? 500,000 manpower, we have 88 divisions, 61 boats, and 1,000 aircraft. Honestly, it's not bad. We have political unrest with stability minus 10%. We no longer have the Brest-Litov modifier. They removed that in the patch, which is nice for us. 86. There's still 2 divisions. You guys, there we go. I think this should be fine for now. You know, actually starting with 88 units is really not bad. I mean, if we compare that to how Russia's been in the past, I think there's a time when the Second Weltkrieg would begin and Russia would have around this amount of units. So we got a pretty good head start with us. We'll assign you. We're going to put these units here. Just because, I mean, we'll see about Transmeter, because if they go pro-Japanese, there's a chance we don't have to go to war with them at all, or at least not early on. I mean, you have a supply hub here. This should be okay. Next up, we'll put these units along the Alash-Orda border. 22 divisions we'll put on Don Kubin. Put the rest of you on Ukraine, and then I'll put half of you here and the other half here. That should be an okay place for us to begin off with our military stuff. So, troubled history. The February Revolution put an end to essentially the Tsarist despotism, but his achievements were on the verge of being undone. In October of 1917, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, stormed the Winter Palace and seized control of Russia, declaring the world's first revolutionary socialist state. A wide front of monarchists, republicans, moderate socialists, and foreign interventionists rose up against it. The Bolshevik Revolution was stillborn. In September of 1918, Lenin was assassinated by Fanny Kaplan, a disgruntled left SR, and the Bolshevik cause began to disintegrate. This, combined with German supplies providing to the White Movement throughout the Civil War, meant that by 1920, the revolution was successfully suppressed. In 1922, the White Generals dictated a constitution for the new Russian Republic, which, albeit democratic, was riddled with issues and did not satisfy everybody. Hoping that he would prove to be a weak figurehead, the Whites pushed forward Alexander Kerensky, leader of the provisional government before the October coup, as the first president of the Russian Republic. Kerensky would prove to be capable, however, as he survived the 1925 Kolchak Putsch and implemented new economic policy to restore economic growth, and has governed the country for the past 15 years. A lack of serious political opposition and widespread electoral manipulation has certainly helped his longevity as well. By 1936, however, President Kerensky was eroded, the last of his allies in government, and the NDP is no longer yielding any dividends. Nationalists see him cut out of Germans, Democrats believe that he is turning into a dictator, and Socialists simply want the entire system gone. All of them share one belief, however, that Russia still has potential to exert its power on the world. Signed in 1922, after the end of the Russian Civil War, and 5 years after the February Revolution, the Constitution of the Russian Republic is the scar on the fractured White Movement, which saw its adoption. It defines Russia as a federal democratic republic, guarantees universal freedoms and rights to every citizen of the republic, and is the document by which the country's political institutions have been organized since then. In some ways, the Constitution is an updated version of the Tsar's Constitution of 1906. The upper house of the parliament, the Senate, is the main example of this authoritarian heritage. It is an unelected institution comprised of senior statesmen and delegates from the upper strata, such as aristocrats, university professors, and business associations. The lower house, State Duma, is elected and holds most legislative power in the country. The president of the unelected Senate curbs the democratic process in the country, however. The president is elected by the Senate. By many of his powers and duties are styled after the position of the Tsar in the 1906 Constitution. Therefore, he holds significant executive power and appoints a council of ministers with the approval of both legislative houses. The president is the primary actor in the executing legislative acts and represents the republic in foreign affairs. He also has access to the infamous Article 48 of the Constitution, which allows the president to take emergency actions without the approval of the Duma. President Alexander Kerensky has grown fond of using his power to bypass the increasingly faster legislator and thus pass decrees and laws. Drafted under his guidance of the White Generals, the Constitution can only call itself protector of democracy when its articles are not used against it. Let's take a quick sip here. The new economic policy. The Russian Civil War left the economy of the Republic in a pitiful position. The conflict had devastated the country and left millions dead. Then was breaking out in the Volga region, and anarchy reigned across much of the country. The government of Alexander Kerensky had a lot of potential capital and used this vast series of economic stimulus programs dubbed the New Economic Policy. The NEP combined financial stabilization with concessions to the progressive movement. A new currency was introduced, the Chevrolet ruble, backed by the gold standard, which put an end to the rampant inflation. The de facto land redistribution to the countryside was recognized, and additional land reform promulgated. Additional land reform I don't think I've ever seen this word before. In order to restore the efficiency of agriculture. A restored agricultural sector allowed Russia to become an exporter and use the revenue of these exports combined with considerable American and German investment to restore industrial zones and rebuild the rail system. By the late 1920s, despite losing access to Don Kuban sharesm, Russia was the fastest growing economy on the planet with plenty of potential to spare. The economic miracle began to slow down by 1933. The Great Depression in America deprecated investment in Russia. Agriculture officially stopped growing due to lack of mechanization, and the gold standard was shackling finances rather than stabilizing them. By 1936, the state was entered a full-on recession. Although some hold out that the prosperous German market will salvage Russia, the consensus that the NEP has run its course and a change of policy is needed. Should Russia recover and its economy once again become vibrant, however, its untapped potential will likely turn it into an industrial giant. Yeah, I'm sure nothing bad will happen to Germany, so we're okay there. We're gonna go with a few more. I mean, do we have any? We have 80%, 80% here. We'll put some civilian factories down in the south. So I'm feeling rather okay. Kerensky's been shot, unsurprising. The Senate gunfire rings across the capital. Alexander Kerensky, the president of the Russian Republic, was shot and killed by an assassin while he's climbing the steps of the Senate House. His killer was shot dead by the military police before he can make an escape. His motives will forever be unknown. Regardless, the fate of Russia has been irrevocably changed. So the country is like falling apart a little bit. We don't care about this. The assassination of the aftermath of the assassination of Kerensky. Kerensky may have been hated by many, but it was only when he died that it became clear how much Russia needed him. The coalition between the cadets and socialist revolutionaries had begun to dissolve immediately. Kerensky's right-hand man, Viktor Chernov, who had usually handled the nitty-gritty of coalition building while the president acted as the public face of the party, has suddenly found his job to be a lot harder. All while the right-wing forces in the Senate and Duma coalesce and gather their forces. Their soon-to-be savior is Grand Duke Dmitry, who has all the material to be a fine president in their eyes. Chernov's only hope is that the left opposition, the Menshevik and radical socialists represented by Mikhail Tretly and Alexander Shlilepnikov, would rally aside and join forces with the hated SRs and cadets. Anti-democratic forces plot in the shadows. Peter Regel, the Black Baron, and Field Marshal Levy Kornilov have independently drawn up plans for seizing control of the state for this exact occasion. They have no reason to play ball with the parliamentarians of Moscow now that Kerensky is gone, after all. Whatever made the outcome of the January crisis, it is bound to leave a lasting impact on Russian history. So again, we want to restore the monarchy. We need Denikin, Romanov, or Regel. Well, let's go with Denikin, I think. Romanov, Regel. We don't want the top two. We could go Romanov. I think Romanov does allow you to do constitutional monarchy. Or Regel. I think Regel is only Imperial glory. So, you know, let's... Well, first things first, we'll save just in case they make the wrong decision. And we will do the coalition has failed, and they will elect Romanov. Romanov has assumed power. The Kremlin Palace of Moscow is not left vacant for long. Dmitry Romanov, Grand Duke of the House of Romanov and member of the Senate, has been elected as new president of Russia with a narrow majority of Octobrists, Russian nationalists, Eurasianists, and right-wing cadets. Playing the role of the moderate Romanov, Dmitry finds his appeal among conservative Republicans and constitutional monarchists alike, both of whom see a savior in a man. After getting elected to the Senate, the Grand Duke declared that it was his first attempt to restore stability to the fallen nation. Surprisingly, or perhaps not, he made sure to omit any promises to support democracy in particular. Neither he nor the right-wing senators who stand behind his back are all that thrilled with the democratic government which the left champions, though they're fine playing lip service to it. Okay, so there's our stability. We are negative 5% stability, negative 66 political power, or 65 political power. It's not too bad. And Alash has declared their independence. Terrible news! Our autonomous region of Lash Orda has decided to use the political chaos in Russia to sever almost all their ties with Russia and declare independence. Very cool. How are supplies doing, by the way? Do we have enough? Put you here. I mean, I know supplies can be pretty bad. Okay, supplies here are actually terrible. Like, what is your main issue? I mean, we could just put some how many trucks do we have? 21. Okay, so we don't have a lot of trucks. We'll put you back on horseback. Do we build... Wait, do we... Okay, we are building trucks. Also, I should look at... We have no rubber. Let's import Russia from Siam, because they are... They shouldn't really be a main adversary for us. I mean, if you go to war with the Japan, then they probably will. But until that point, we should be okay. Okay, so you're a 70-day focus. I think you're one... I think you're like the only... Never mind, there's actually quite a few 70-day focuses. You actually have 84-day focuses. My god. Okay, new king of Britain. We have the totalist in Britain. Well, I mean, it's just a charter. They haven't actually decided it. But of course, we do have reason to be allied with the socialist powers in Europe. Being as they'll be at war with Germany, I will be at war with Germany. It's a perfect match. And again, just to remind everybody, we cannot go to war in 1930. Well, we could go to war theoretically in 1939. But in order for us to actually go to war with Germany, we need to either A, it needs to be August 1st, 1940, or we need 75% world tension. Because we are playing as Russia, we are one of the countries that can try to drive up world tension as quickly as possible. Okay, also immediately after assuming power, President Dmitry Romanov began looking for all the ways he could possibly expand his power, remaining in the trappings of the Constitution. The document has got enough errors in it that it did not take a long time. Soon, the president appeared before the Duma again, this time to announce a new course. Under this reform program of the Constitution, the powers of the State Duma have been limited for an indefinite duration of time. While they remain the main legislative organ of the state, they now have to share their powers with the Senate, which has received the power of legislative initiative, as well as the ability to promulgate executive orders bypassing the Duma outright. As the Senate is far more loyal to the new president than the Duma ever was, it means that Dmitry has gained a powerful tool at his disposal in order to reform the states to his whim. Aggregation in the countryside, we will eliminate him. Look, I mean, Russia's not going to be a great place for a while. I think we should acknowledge that. I mean, it's hard to say, right? Well, we are buffed from the previous patch. We need to still play things smart. I mean, Mongolia, if Mongolia were to keep Roman von Sternberg, would be happy with that. Finland, if you were to collapse and then join my faction, I would be okay with that as well. Enemy to the east. Faction leader is at war with one of the major powers. Jackson, I mean, it would be at war with Germany. That would make sense at some point. But I will also be at war with Germany. So for the time being, our kind of like, I don't know, axis would be Russia, Commune of France, and Japan as being the anti-German force. Okay, Black Mondays hit Russia. Also, 3 weeks ago, the Berlin Stock Exchange plummeted into a bottomless depth, throwing Germany's economy into an unprecedented crisis. Now the shockwaves of the crisis reach Russia. Okay, so it is honestly not that bad. I mean, there are way worse Great Depression modifiers. Okay, Pavlov has died. Widely known Russian psychologist died today in 86 in Petrograd. There we go. We get a stability for him dying. I'll take it. Unfilled import request. I mean, it still says 1, so I'm still feeling okay. I'm actually wondering if it would make sense for us to maybe try to go into free trade. Because we do have a lot of natural resources. The intelligence to others, I honestly think the AI, like, against the AI, I don't think that number matters in any meaningful way. And by any meaningful way, I mean any way whatsoever. I don't think it does anything. Okay, one more day for you. Okay, it looks like that's Solarians. No. Which is fine. Can't do any of you. Army modernization is not a big deal. Which of these do we want? Bureaucratic overhaul, 10% stability. Invest. You're more stability here. Min-prom, resource exploitation. Military production. I actually don't know which one of these are actually better. So you are... First, it's 10% political power gain versus 100 political power, 10% stability. Stability, local development. I think last time we went with Zemsta, so you know, let's do bureaucratic overhaul this time around. Unless I'm mistaken, we did bureaucratic overhaul and we didn't do the other one. Either way, we're okay. Okay, you are Radsock, right? Yes, you are. Okay, worker strike. Then the army. You know what? Let's fulfill our man. 25 political power is okay. Like, it still isn't good. You know, don't get me wrong. Also, I'm going to take some of these units. Just for the time being. We'll assign you as field marshal. I will assign you into this army. I'm going to put you on the border here with Finland for a moment, just to get you not to be down here. You don't want to be taking supply issues for no reason. How are supplies over here? I mean, it could be better, but also it could be significantly worse. Okay, we do need to prepare an invasion into Last Order, because we will be going to war with them at some point, which is over here. Because you need us to not have political instability, and you need us to get one of these done. Okay. Well, that won't be a big problem, because we'll do it eventually. We're at 8% world tension. Right now, you settle at 0. No, minimum's 25. So actually, this won't go down at all, I think, until we hit 25% world tension. Which is interesting for us. Okay. What kind of political advisors do we have? Actually, not a lot. Compared to what we saw in South Africa. I mean, it looks like a lot of them are... Actually, okay, we have 3 we don't have. National Populist, National Populist. Just is not liberal. Okay. I mean, stability, recovery rose, compliance gain. We'll take another closer look once we actually have 150 political power, which, when will that be? I don't think I could tell you, because I have no goddamn idea. Okay, electronic. Government intervention. Love to see it. Thanks for making the economy a little bit less bad. Okay, you've improved. Operative slot +1. Actually, that means we should have 2 spies then. Yeah, fantastic. Elite gymnasiums. Each city in the Russian Empire used to have a gymnasium, where the smartest children and the children of local elite studied. Why would the smartest children study at the gymnasium? Do I not know what a gymnasium is? Well, the Republican reforms of Kerensky, most of these schools were canceled and all these students had to study together with the sons and daughters of workers and peasants. Senators claim that such elite gymnasium should be restored to be sure the best representatives of the next Russian generation with the perfect conditions to study. Otherwise, we can support the public schools. It's clear that we will never reach the levels of the old gymnasiums. You know, I'll do public schools, so they do need stability. Maybe in the future, you can have a little bit of, you know, you can have a little bit, a touch of, major class divide. But for now, where do I want to send this spy, actually? I guess we'll send in the Don Kubin first. I mean, our Last Order is also going to be one of our main targets, but it shouldn't be that bad. Okay, major peasant unrest. Stability goes up. A year of this. I mean, 12% stability. I mean, okay, the factory output going down is not great, I will say. However, again, we're not going to be going to war. We're not going to be going into a major war in, you know, 3, maybe 4 years. So a small time penalty of like 5% factory output is not going to be the end of the world, I think. How many units can we deploy? 107. Your 20 combat with. How many artillery? It's negative 700. Okay. There's 70 of you, 4 of you, 1 of you, 10 of you, 3 of you. First things first, you're not the most efficient, right? You are not. There we go. Or just for the moment, give me 10 basic infantry. Deploy them in Moscow. Tank divisions. We'll see. We'll see about that. I will want to modify them at some point. I don't know when we will do so. Probably once we actually start stockpiling a lot of tanks. We actually have 324 trains. That's a pretty substantial amount, actually. You know what we actually want? We actually want more production efficiency cap. Base cap is 50, but, you know, depression and peasant negotiations not helping us there. So once you are done, that's a 10% boost. We'll immediately go down to getting our another 10% boost. Failure of the bombing plot. The anarchist, socialist, cynical, and the Bolsheviks are weakening the stability of our motherland. Recently, they caused a panic in one of the major Russian cities. An assassin tried to bomb a famous government representative. Thankfully, the bomb went off too early, killing only a few people. Okay, well, I mean, a few people are dead. That's just a few. Just a handful. A handful of civilians died. That's okay. I mean, what can you do, right? Freaking you are. I mean, the stability boost will be nice. Because right now we're taking a negative 20% factory output from our stability. Which is awful. Modify economic depression. Exploitation would be nice at some point, but I don't think it's necessary right now. You're 70. Why are all these things 70 days? Why do you take this long? Let me just take a look. You're not available yet. So let's go with mini prom next. 70 days. Recruit another spy. I mean, we'll just send you to Berlin. I think that seems completely reasonable. Can we not select one of these? We're at 50. You know what? You're completely correct on that. We could select one of you, but I mean, right now I don't think it makes sense. 127. You're 150. You're 150. Do I want to go free trade? I mean, it's 5% more construction speed, research speed, factory output, and dockyard output. The resources are not so bad. Military theorist. Land option cost minus 10% is not bad. For 100 political power, though, you think I'd want something maybe a little bit better. 10% attack, 15% defense. Oh, but again, I don't need him. We don't need him until the war actually starts. When the war starts, by all means, we'll look at him. But for now, I don't think it makes any sense. We can wait a little while. Please crack down your stability boost, right? Stop going on strike, please. We could do please track down. Solidify control. I think you're just like party support, which really doesn't do anything. Turn this off forever. 180 days. How many weeks is that? 20. Like 22? That's like a 10% stability boost. You know what? I'm going to turn you off for now as well. The Women's Division of Death. Maria Bakarova, colonel of the Russian army and hero of the Veiled Creek and Russian Civil War, has recently requested the government to allow formation of the 1st Women Division by combining existing women battalions of death, which will later serve as a basis for the formation of a women's corps. Yeah, sure, why not? 2 free units, political power, fuck it. Like, I already... Yeah, they also start as being very, very elite. Enter 20 combat with, okay. Actually, are they just our regular infantry divisions? No, they are not. They actually have their own unique template. We will send you to Finland. I think that seems okay. We'll ignore you for now because most of you are... We got some that are 50. But the 50 ones are usually not that good. And again, we're not at war. Actually, wait, one of you is 200. Oh, because you're... Oh, so specialist, genius, and expert. 12% attrition loss. I mean, you're really good with cavalry. 15% attack and defense. I'll think about it. I never really think about cavalry too much in this game, but... Actually, I'm curious. Are cavalry any weaker than infantry, or do they have the exact same stats? More defense, a little bit more breakthrough. Cavalry does use more supply. Infantry actually lowers organization, surprisingly. Max speed, it makes the army a lot slower, but that's something we can ignore here. They also need more infantry equipment, so they're actually about... They're about similar, actually. Maybe we'll train like an entire cavalry army and maybe use them to try to charge our way through Ukraine or something like that. But for now, I think it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. Thanks to everybody for watching. My name is Antoine. If you enjoyed, give me a thumbs up. Not enjoy, you can always thumbs down. If you want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.